Welcome to the Lifted Lifestyle Podcast. This is a call to action to live your life above limitations that try to disrupt your peace, steal your joy, and limit your access to your best life. I am Latasha Weatherspoon, the Chief Empowerment Officer of the Lifted Lifestyle and your favorite host. I'm joined today by my favorite host, Mr. Chaz Bailey.
Hello, world. This is Chaz Bailey, the COO, Creator of Opportunities of the Lifted Lifestyle. How you all doing out there?
Well, I'm doing good today. I don't know how our audience is doing, but I'm going to go ahead and claim that they are doing absolutely amazing. Today was a really good day. It was beautiful outside. It was sun shining and breezy. I was like, come on, Houston, with the great weather. While some of our brothers and sisters in the Northeast are having some terrible weather right now.
Definitely.
But yes, the Nor'easter.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely be holding you in our hearts as we're here in Houston. We hope that everyone makes it out of this storm well, with their life and their property still intact. So Chaz, what are you grateful for today?
Well, today and this week, reflecting back on it, I would say I'm grateful for having what I have. And what I mean by that is that just like we hope you do, I have a million dreams or a billion dreams and aspirations. And this week I just reflected on what I already have, because sometimes, I'm not sure if you've been to Houston, we have, unfortunately a high homeless population. I have a nice house. I may not have the super mansion I want right now, but I'm happy that I have a roof over my head. I'm happy that I have a vehicle, I have a job, things of that nature. I'm just happy for those little things that are easily looked over. So I'm definitely grateful for that, because I found where it gives me a little drive to pursue what I want next, but I can go off of what I already have. So definitely grateful for the little things.
Wow. I think my gratitude item for this week is kind of in the same line with that, but it's more physical. Of course, I work in a hospital. And so when you're surrounded by people who've had strokes and traumatic brain injury, it makes you really present inside of your body. It makes you really be thankful for the little things, being able to take yourself to the bathroom, stand up when you want to stand up, walk when, you want to walk, just actually being able to move your body and have it operate in its full capacity. So I'm definitely grateful for my body this day.
Yeah, that's
my
awesome.
Health.
Yeah, that's a key point. You got to have your health to have everything. So it starts with yourself.
Yeah,
we're getting into the topic today.
I know, right? The great segue into our topic today. So today we are continuing our Find Your Tribe series as we approach the 1-year anniversary of publication for the Find Your Tribe book. So we're going to continue to address the topic of finding yourself. Finding yourself. So, we kind of talked about it, not last week, because last week we were doing the Black Girl Excellence recap. But the week before, we kind of started the conversation on finding yourself and how you have to make an active effort to define yourself.
Yeah.
So, that's where it starts. It starts with defining yourself for yourself.
Exactly.
Not based on your connections, not based on being critical of yourself, but actually taking a real look at yourself and your value to the world just for your mere existence.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
No, that's what it is.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
So that's a really good thing. Before we go any further, I do want to thank the people who are watching us live on Facebook. Remember, you can tune in for the first 15 minutes of this show on Facebook. So share, post, bring a friend.
Yeah, subscribe, like, and then don't forget where you can also find us, theliftedlifestyle.com. We're on Apple iTunes. We're on Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. I believe I'm missing some. YouTube, anywhere.
Spreaker.
Spreaker. Anywhere
Google
podcasts
Play.
are. So
Just
look
about
out there.
anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find the Lifted Lifestyle podcast. And we're super excited to now be featured in iHeartRadio. So you can find us anywhere there are. You can find the Lifted Lifestyle podcast on your radios, on your laptops, on your cell phones, everywhere. So you have no excuse not to be watching the Lifted Lifestyles podcast.
Exactly.
We are everywhere.
We thank you.
And we are very, very grateful for having you with us every week. And you, like I said, and tell us about our content. You know, if you're enjoying it, tell us you're enjoying it. If you got something from it, if you feel like you have some constructive criticism, tell us that too.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
we're here to grow with you. We're growing with you.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, don't forget to visit theliftedlifestyle.com. And as we're celebrating the anniversary of Latasha's best-selling book, you can purchase it there. You can purchase it anywhere books are sold. So definitely check it out. And also, we want reviews for that too. Because we have a lot of great things coming down the line. And so we definitely want to keep you in mind as we move forward in this journey. So we have to lift our lifestyles as well. So let's do it.
Yeah. So to start today's show and in talking about finding yourself, I think that, like, you know, we need to recap. As we said last week, we talked about defining yourself. We talked about having a definition of yourself for yourself, because a lot of times other people's opinions are what we carry with us.
Exactly.
We carry with us what we've been told about ourselves more than what we actually tell ourselves, because a lot of times the voice in our head is reinforced by what someone else said about us, the opinions they had. But, you know, I heard someone say, you know, you had a purpose or a destiny before anyone had an opinion.
Yeah, that's true. That's
and
powerful.
That's a powerful thing to keep in mind. You know, you are who you are in your own right. So in addition to that, don't be afraid to not define yourself by your connections. You know, you are more than just someone's mother, someone's wife, someone's sister, someone's employee, someone's sorority sister. You are more than the things that you are connected to, the people that you're connected to. I was having a conversation with my coworker today about just this very thing, how you have to know who you are and know your value in the world. And don't be afraid to take care of yourself before you take care of your husband, before you take care of your children, because you have to be a fully functioning individual in order to be your best self for your family.
Yeah, exactly. It's like going to the movie Paid in Full and saying everybody eats. You know, everybody eats. But that's true to an extent, because everybody can eat. But if you're not feeding yourself, how can you feed someone else? So we have to look at that side of it. So what we want to do is pour into it and feed you, and allow you in turn to feed someone else, because you can't give what you don't have, or as you like to say, pour from an empty cup. So
you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
So in addition to, you know, writing your own definition of yourself and kind of evaluating who you are outside of the things you've been told about yourself, you have to also examine your experiences.
Yes.
Because you have to recognize that everything that you experience in life in some way, shape, or form will have an impact or imprint on you, especially the things that we've experienced in our youth.
Yes.
You know, those things, people don't give enough credit for how they impact us, you know. But a simple story is, think about a person who was told, you know, you won't grow up to be anything. You won't grow up to be successful. That person may very well grow up and be afraid to take risks.
Yeah, that's true.
Not believe in themselves, have low self-confidence. You know, someone who has not ever been told that you're beautiful may have self-esteem issues. You know, someone who has been conditioned to be fearful will probably not take risk in any area of their lives. You know, the things that we experience in our adolescence have a big part on who we become as adults. They play a major role, and I don't think we consider that enough.
No, I agree. And then I like to add to that by stepping back a little bit. I would even go as far as to say, as a child, because I can't remember exactly where I got it from, so it's not mine world, but someone's analyzed education, and they said, the basic education is what you really take through life, and that's through 5th grade. And then after that, you're specialized and you're adding layers to it and getting smarter in dedicated categories. And what tends to happen is that, as people say, well, as you nurture a child and what their environment is, what they're told, the experiences they have can shape what they do in the adolescence in their adult life. So understanding that in the T is just saying, okay, the experiences you have as a child can also grow into the adolescence when you can express it in a bigger atmosphere. So I would say definitely understanding that. And, of course, this is not on topic, but that gives us that piece of information, gives us the knowledge and will to say, okay, let's make the environment, the experiences of the children that we're bringing up to be as nurturing as possible to prevent the negative things of experiences. Because, of course, we're talking about positive, but, prevent the negative experiences from what they can grow into. So I think that's an awesome point about the experiences you have in both childhood and adolescence.
Your belief systems come from your experiences. So one of the things that I discuss in the book is how your experiences become your belief systems and how your belief systems become your behaviors. So you have to be aware of the fact that there are some things that you've experienced in your life that have shaped how you behave today in every facet of your life, whether it be your relationships, your jobs, just your day-to-day interaction with other people, whether or not you're trusting or too trusting or not trusting enough. 9 times out of 10, that came from something that you experienced repeatedly in your life that shaped your belief system, and that belief system became a behavior that you're exhibiting. So examine your experiences and take power over the things that you've experienced in your life will allow you to shape how you show up in the world today.
No, that's 100% accurate. To open up myself to the world, a conversation me and Latasha had maybe last week or so. Some of my early experiences, because I was the only child. And so being an only child, I rely on myself. So some of the work ethics that I say I have, of course, it comes from external influence, but I relied on myself. So I was like, I got to get it done. And so sometimes it can be detrimental in a group setting because I'm born with 2 hands, but I act like I got 30. So I'm trying to put my hands in everything. But to understand what you are and where your experiences led you to think or process, that adds to who you are, because now going into it, as you just quoted from the book, is that, okay, I know this is me. Now, I know this is a powerful thing some people don't have, but I need to know how to hone this power to make it as useful as possible without ever being detrimental to me or anyone else.
Wow, that's good. And I mean, one of the examples that I talk about in the book is, for example, like, let's talk about the experience of someone who, let's say, had abandonment issues because there was a parent who left home. If you have an experience like that one, it may lead you to believe, oh my God, I have to settle in a relationship because I'm afraid that this person is going to leave the same way my parent did.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Everything is interconnected when you are aware of yourself. And that's where self-awareness comes into play and becomes very important, because once you are self-aware and you start to take stock of how these experiences are showing up in your life, it gets real, and that's why I tell people, go to therapy. Go to therapy, because I went to therapy for the first time, I think, in my early 20s. And I learned so much about myself in my early 20s that I was like, wow, that's where that comes from. But it wasn't until the second time that I went to therapy, I started to realize that not only was it showing up in experiences that I had, that I was currently having, but it was showing up in my day-to-day behavior,
Yeah.
Settling for, my personal story is, when I was younger, I dealt with abandonment issues. And because I didn't grow with my mother, my grandmother raised me. So I used to have a fear that people, even those I loved, were going to leave. So in my adult life, that showed up in relationships because I stayed in relationships that were not good for me far longer than I probably should have, because I hadn't done the work to recognize how the issues from my mother leaving in my early childhood were showing up today.
Yeah, yeah, and that's 100% accurate because of whatever you may go through, and that experience. Basically, you're basically utilizing what you already know, and if that's all you know, that's all you can use. Yeah. But sometimes you don't know that you are like that because we're living the movie, we're not watching it.
Yes.
And so when you're watching the movie through the eyes of a therapist or a counselor, it's not nothing negative. It's basically let me watch my autobiography.
Or it's being reinforced,
exactly.
Because when you think about it, just to take you through the sequence, like abandonment issues because a parent left home. That showed up in the belief system of I'm not really worthy of love because my parent didn't love me. I'm not really worthy of love. So that showed up in a detrimental behavior by me settling and digging my heels into a relationship that was not healthy for me. Yeah. So you got to often look at how the experiences will lead to the belief system and how the belief system will show up in behaviors in your day-to-day life. And be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself.
All right. Well, definitely have to do that because, as you said, those experiences, they lead, it's basically what you are and who you were, and you're living out, your resume. But you can change your resume as you go along. So you're not defined by your experiences. You just have to hone in on
You have to own them in order to change them. And I think that's where the work happens, is people don't want to face the detrimental experiences that they've had in their life. But it is not until you're in a place of power and into a position of power and ownership over your experiences that you can own your life as it presents today.
Yeah, definitely. And so now we come to a part where we have to wave at our Facebook viewers.
It's that time already.
It's that time. But we thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Facebook.
It's more to come. Rest assured.
If you want to watch
the first part,
and if you want to watch the rest of this show.
Yeah, we're going to definitely be on YouTube later on this evening. So look for that. If you just want to hear it, all the podcast sources, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spreaker, you name it, we're there, iHeartRadio. So we'll definitely be uploaded there. We thank you for viewing us this part of the show, but we have more to come, and we hopefully want you to tune in.
And remember, subscribe, share, follow, like YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, everywhere podcasts are available. You can find the Lifted Lifestyle.
Yes. Subscribe.
So we'll see you guys next week. Until then, thank you for being here with us. I'm Latasha Weatherspoon.
And I'm Chaz Bailey, COO. See you soon. All right, to dive back into the topic here with the experiences, we definitely have to remember to not be scarred by them. And that's what I felt you were alluding to, because though we both gave experiences personally, that doesn't define who you are. That's just something you went through. It's an experience, but experiences come as time comes. So we have to understand that, because as we move on, experiences move on as well, and they're not here to stay. So we're the defining moment because we define ourselves.
You have to face your scars, and once you begin to face your scars, then you're in a position of power where you can diminish your blemishes.
Yes.
But it's not until you actually take ownership over the experience and give yourself some grace that there are some things that happen to you in your life that were not your fault.
Oh, yeah.
There's some experiences that you've had that shaped who you are as a person that were in the making before you were even born. So forgiving yourself and letting yourself have a little bit of grace will go a long way. And once you've made peace with your scars and your experiences in your life, then you can begin to reshape those. One of the things that I learned to do early on was affirm myself, and that came from, I told this story before, my father, who was affirming me before I even knew affirmations was a thing,
Exactly.
But by my father affirming me, a lot of times I would just repeat what I heard him say. I'm a queen. I'm powerful. There's nobody prettier than me. All the things, that daddies tell their little girls that make them a powerful force in the world. I was repeating the things that showed up in my life through his voice. And in addition to affirming myself was taking ownership over the fact that I didn't have any control over my mother leaving. I didn't have any control over some of the things that happened in my life, and giving yourself permission to move forward past that place.
That's correct, because that negative experience basically bears on you, and that becomes your energy. So the next thing we have to do is examine our energy. We have to examine what we project, because though these experiences that we just spoke of were detrimental in a sense, we have to say, okay, that comes to us one way, but how does it come out of us? And that's your energy. So if it
comes to us one way, but it comes out of us another way, and you're responsible for the way it comes out of you. That's powerful.
Yes, because you're virtually a circuit, and whatever one end of the circuit going to a breaker, one end going to an outlet or a plug or a device, what have you, and that's virtually who we are. But what do we want to project out of that outlet? And we're the outlet. So we have to examine that energy, because that shapes not only ourselves and how we're viewed, that shapes our environment. So we definitely have to remember to examine our personal energy.
And in examining your energy, the one thing that is most important is taking ownership over the fact that it's your life. You only get one life. And once you take ownership over the fact that this is your life, you are able to take ownership over your energy. You're able to be more responsible with the way you show up in the world.
Yeah.
Once you start to realize that, I have to control the way that I'm showing up in the world. No one else can control how I'm showing up in the world. Not my parent, not my spouse, not my boss. No one else has that kind of control unless I give it to them. Not even my experiences have that control unless I allow my experiences that kind of control over my life. So once you start to take back your ownership, you can take back your energy.
Yes, and as I know you stated in the book, but you'll become a benchmark for what you attract. And so you have to remember that, because one of my biggest thing as a child, I used to love Saturday morning watching the X-Men, and I went through a phase where I liked all the characters. That each one was my favorite one. But I remember early on, my favorite one was Cyclops, because he could shoot lasers out his eye or whatever. And so when I got older, they made a movie. It was basically a thing he couldn't control. He would just walk out, and if his eyes open, lasers everywhere. He tearing up stuff and all of that. Think about that being our experiences. Our experiences are built up laser beams that we're shooting from us. And so we walk out, and because this happened, let's say abandonment issues, you hang on to a relationship, you're throwing that out there in the world easily. And so what we have to do is what Cyclops did, or Professor X and the X-Men did, wear a certain set of glasses, wear a device that keeps you from just letting it spread, and learning to basically own that energies to a T, to where you project it when you want to and how you want to. Using myself, for example, saying I'm the only child, I rely on myself a lot because I want to get everything done myself, and I want to guarantee it myself. But if I go out to the world and I just do that, then next thing I know, my teammates are leaving because I'm trying to do everything myself, and now it's conduct detrimental to my team. So you have to remember that part is that you own that energy, and you have to control that energy, how it comes out, because then now I can take my experiences and make that a strength for me, because I can do this. So when things get tough, I can be clutch and not a ball hog.
Wow. And something you said when you're talking about the superhero was, put on your glasses. And I think that's a powerful thing to think about your glasses. Think about how you view the world through what lens. That will help you to control your energy by how you see the world, how you see yourself. A lot of people will say, oh, well, I don't make friends. I can't make friends. And, I don't have a circle because women are catty or because people don't like me. But the reality is you are projecting something that is pushing people away from you.
Yeah.
And once you get to a place where you're really looking inward and you're examining, how am I showing up in the world? Do I not have a lot of friends because I show up guarded? Do I not have a lot of friends because I show up mean or because I am more petty than I am praiseworthy? You got to honestly look at how you're showing up in the world. Do some self-assessment,
Yeah, and then too, to piggyback on that, just to say, you have to see what you're projecting, pushing people away, but also you got to see what you're projecting and what are you attracting with your projections. Because sometimes we attract the wrong people by what we do, whether we don't advocate for ourselves. So now we attract, con artists, or we attract people that are no good for us in general.
That'll take advantage of us.
They can take advantage of because they know, they won't advocate for themselves. They won't research. They won't do this. So that can go in any field, whether it's a relationship, whether it's business, whether it's just buying a car or something. You definitely have to understand what you are attracting and projecting at the same time, because energy is flowing everywhere and you can control yours. So we definitely have to do that.
And something that you said, I think a lot of people don't really do is examine how their culpability and how people are treating us. A lot of times, we're just saying, well, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing that. And our focus is all external. But once we begin to turn the camera inward and take ownership over the fact that, what, let me think about this, because case in point, I had some friendships that fell apart in 2017. And once I started to think about, well, why did that happen that way? What did I miss? And even me, someone who is very diligent about my self-awareness and very diligent about how I show up in the world, I didn't recognize that there was some things that I was projecting that allowed this other person to show up the way that they were showing up.
Exactly.
So I had to take some ownership over the fact that some of the things that happened in those relationships were about how I allowed myself to show up in those relationships.
No, exactly. Exactly.
And I think that it's a constant journey. And anybody that tells you that they don't have work to do within themselves is lying. Anybody that tells you that they don't need to reassess their energy and how they're showing up and how they present to the world on a consistent basis is someone who is not growing.
Yeah, exactly.
Or simply, just not self-aware and a little bit delusional. But,
yeah, exactly.
That's another conversation.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. That's true, because it's growth in everything you do and everywhere you go. And speaking of everywhere you go, that growth extends to your environment. And you have to examine the environment you're in as well to ultimately find yourself. Because the environment that you are in, you have to understand what is conducive to you being the best you that you can be.
That's true.
So if I'm a football player and I spend most of my time on a basketball court, I'm not doing the best as I can do, or if you're a bookworm, but you never have a book in your hand, or you never a place where it's conducive to reading. So you have to be in an environment that helps you grow to where you want to be.
Yeah,
exactly. Because one thing that I heard and I think it was a business conference or something, the presenter said, if you want to reach a goal, don't go to a person that just achieved that goal. Go to someone that achieves 3 times that goal. And that way, it's something that can come natural to them because they did where you want to go simple. And it's not a struggle. And they can be your crutch in that. So, for example, if I want to be a great basketball player, but I'm only going to my regular school gym during school hours, and I'm not going to a training facility, I'm not going to a court where a lot of people are playing for with better talents, then I'm not pushing myself. So my growth level is going to be stunted. I'm creating my glass ceiling myself. And so we have to think about our glass ceiling we're creating in our lives. We have to understand that because the environment we're in.
So examine your experience, examine your energy, and examine your environment, because the environment that you allow yourself to be in will also shape who you are as a person. It will also steer you in one direction or another and put you around people who will either elevate you or take advantage of you.
Exactly.
You know, because once we start to examine the people that are around us, we will find why we're not the best version of ourselves.
Yes.
Because if you're around people who are intimidated by your successes, you're more than likely going to hold back from being the best, biggest, brightest version of yourself.
Yes.
If you're around people who are often a little bit petty and passive aggressive, you may not advocate for yourself.
Yes.
You know, so examining your environment is very, very important in the process of finding who you are, because you have to put yourself in a situation that's conducive for you to win.
Yes, exactly.
And that's in every single situation, in every single environment that you find yourself, your work environment, your home environment, your friendship circles, whatever it is you're trying to build, you have to build from the inside out. Yeah. So you have to build your environment reflective of who you are on the inside.
Yeah, you definitely do. Yeah,
that's the reason why Find Yourself in this book came before Find Your Tribe. Before we talked about any of the ways to find the people who you want to most be surrounded by, you have to find who you are at your core. You have to know who it is you are, what it is you believe, and what it is you want at your core before you can find people that reflect, support, and elevate that.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't need to be in a position where you're around people that add more questions to your life. So, for example, if you step out there and you're an author and you're a reader and you go around people that hate literacy, and they don't do anything to build literacy, or they don't want to do anything with writing or reading, and all of a sudden you either become the savior of those people or you become one of those people. And chances are, when you're outnumbered, you kind of can slip in that one of those people.
And that goes with every single
thing.
In
everything you do. In everything you do, because you can be an all-A student and then go hang out with a crowd that, let's say, all D's. And eventually what they do to make D's is against what you do to make A's. So oil and water don't mix. And you have to realize that. And kind of, as you say all the time, everyone can't come. And everything can't be a part of your dream. Everything can't be a part of what you want to do in your life. So when you set that goal that I want to reach this platform, you have to understand, not my goal is just that platform, but what are the steps that are needed to climb to that platform?
Yeah. That's good. That's good. So examine your experiences, examine your energy, and examine your environment. I know we kind of rushed through it today, but that's because I want you to go out and buy the book. I can't give you all of the content, but you can find the book on theliftedlifestyle.com, LatashaWeatherspoon.com, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. Yeah. Everywhere books are sold.
Yeah, everywhere the books are sold. And tidbit she didn't say, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you go to LatashaWeatherspoon.com or theliftedlifestyle.com, your copy can be autographed from Latasha herself.
Yes, you'll get an autographed copy.
I got mine, so get yours. Definitely get yours. So that's the first call to action, but we got another one. So first call to action, remember, get your copy of the book, and the second call to action will be to review it. Let us know what you think about it, because we really want to hear. Because like I said, a lot of things are coming down the pipeline, and I'm gonna
give them a little bit of tidbit. You know, if you review the book, good, bad, honestly, just be honest, whatever it is, on Amazon, we're gonna have some drawings for people who reviewed the book. And we're going to reach out to them. We're going to put all the names in a box and do it old fashioned and just draw a winner. And we have some awesome surprises coming up.
Yeah, definitely. So what's our call to action this week besides the book?
So in addition to going out to buy the book, I want people to think about their core values. So think about what it is you believe and why it is you believe it. So write down 3 core values. Write down 3 things that are absolutely non-negotiable in your life. You know, whether it be honesty, whether it be honor, whether it be laughter. What are 3 non-negotiable core values in your life? Chaz, you want to share one of your core values with the people?
No, but I'm about to throw a wrench in it. Our engineer in the building, Elijah, he's not on camera, but he showed me his. He wrote him down really quick. It said honor, courage, and commitment.
Come on.
So with him writing that, he's
Navy core values.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's gonna be in the U.S. Navy. I was gonna say Marine, but that's a part of the Navy. They're brothers.
Yes.
So yeah, you're right there. You're right there, ready to go. ROTC, shout out.
Awesome.
But those are definitely 3 to have. So
that's
shout out to
definitely
Elijah.
3 big core values to hold on to. But whatever your core values are, know them, own them, make them non-negotiable.
Yes.
You know, they have to be things that you hold on to with both hands in your life. You know, there have to be some things that you have to say that this is what it is, and not negotiate for it. For me, one of the biggest things that I hold on to is my peace. If in any way, shape, or form you attacked or deviate from, you know, a peaceful state, we probably not gonna make it. I don't stay in jobs that disrupt my peace. I don't stay around people that disrupt my peace. But that goes back with knowing what your core values are, owning them, and making them non-negotiable.
And you had to find yourself to understand your core values. So
this is true.
All this ties in together. So
write down 3 non-negotiable core values. That's your action item.
Yeah, your action item 3. I know you may have more than 3, but just your 3 solid, and stand behind them. Don't be afraid.
Start with 3. If you have
3.
more than 3, go ahead and write those down too. But at least 3 good, solid, firm, non-negotiable core values.
Definitely.
So Chaz, tell us our good news story for the week.
Okay, our good news story for the week. It actually comes from Arlington, Texas. So shout out to Arlington. What happened in Arlington is that as we talk about core values, these parents of these students at this particular elementary school actually went into the to the school, and they were doing projects to lift spirits and morales. And so they wanted to do something that basically engaged and encouraged them. So what they did, they surprised the student by painting the bathroom with positive messages. So that's a place where you're going to go throughout an 8-hour day at least once just to wash your hands. So if you go into school, you see that one on the screen there. It says, your mistakes don't define you.
That is amazing.
You're running into the bathroom and the last thing you read was, your mistakes don't define you. So
that is amazing.
You know, when I used to get called to the principal office, I used to stop by the bathroom. And so, going to the bathroom and seeing my mistakes don't define me, let me know that whatever comes of this, I'm going to be all right. Because my mistakes don't define me. And then that gives me an extra little leeway on the principal. You know what, Prince? My mistakes don't define me. This was just a one-off situation, and
but you also have to take responsibility for your mistakes.
You do. You have to be accountable. Exactly.
Accountability is important.
It is important.
Bailey.
That's one of my core values too. Accountability. But shout outs to the parents in Arlington. I think that's amazing, and that's encouraging. As we said, your experiences shape who you are, and so to see that in that early age group, as I threw in there about 5th grade.
That's amazing. Yes. Adolescence, right at that.
It lets you go ahead and you say, you know what? I remember when I was in 5th grade, someone told me my mistakes don't define me. And those things, I think, stick with you. I think that's awesome.
Yes. Thank you very much. That was a good news story with all the, politics and everything that's going on right now. That was definitely an enlightening story that I think will shape some kids' experience, and help them to see themselves in a positive light. Thank you all for joining us this week for the Lifted Lifestyle podcast. Thank you. Remember to go and follow us, subscribe on all social media channels, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher,
Spreaker, TuneIn,
and now iHeartRadio.
Yes, so definitely look out for us there. We're there waiting for you. And then also visit us at our website, theliftedlifestyle.com. Where are we on social media? I know Twitter at Love the Lifted, The Lifted Lifestyle on Facebook and Instagram. And then where you're at?
I am at Tasha Spoon on Instagram, Latasha Weatherspoon on Facebook, and at Tasha Spoon on Twitter and all other social media platforms. I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in and for joining us every week, for coming here. We put this content together for you. So thank you for listening, for watching, for emailing us, for telling us what you thought. We appreciate your input. We appreciate your feedback. It helps us be better. It helps us bring the content to you that you most want to hear from. So if there's something that you would like for us to address on this show, please feel free to email us at info@theliftedlifestyle.com.
Yeah, definitely.
With that being said, as of next week, we will also be taking sponsors. So if you have a product or a service and you would like to be a sponsor on the Lifted Lifestyle podcast and tap into our audience, please email us at info@theliftedlifestyle.com.
Yes, definitely. And then as you peruse the website, we have definitely areas where you can reach out to us about what we do on a coaching level. So definitely reach out to us there, but just visit us. It starts with a visit. So visit us online, and we'll be happy to welcome you with open arms.
And remember that your life is not a test run. Take ownership of it. And remember to live lifted.